You are listening to Wealthy Muslim Woman Podcast, episode number 8. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I can't believe we are on episode number 8 already. And this episode is actually falling on my birthday. So I wanted to make it a little special and not speak directly about money, but something more important. We will speak about emotions and how to make ourselves feel better. Now, this is the reason we want to have money, is to feel better and to be in control of our lives. And I wanted to take this episode towards that direction and just speak about it a little bit. I've had a tremendous amount of growing over the last year and a half. I've been through some rough patches in my life, and I just had a lot of grit, and I just knew I had to move on and just survive. And I feel my whole life I've just been mostly in a survival mode. I have the exam next day and I have to study, and there's no other option, and I just would go and study and take the exam and do well, or I have to go to work and I would just go and take care of everything that I needed to and just move on. I think I had a lot of grit, that's what it's called, but I never really paid attention to myself, to my emotions, to how I was feeling. And I had a lot of anxiety and I had a lot of unsatisfactory feelings in my life. So about a year and a half ago, I was going through another rough patch, and I decided to pursue life coaching. I had no idea what life coaching was. It was just a term I overheard at a friend's party. And then when something happened, I called this friend of mine who was doing life coaching, and I asked her, hey, how can this help me? This is the situation I'm going through. What can you do? And she tried to explain it to her best ability, and honestly, I didn't even understand it, but I was just in such a desperate situation that I said, okay, please help me, let's do this. And we started, and it was just, the first session was just so life-changing, and I learned a lot of things about myself during that period. And then I started reading more about it and trying to find other people who also do life coaching, and I discovered the Life Coach School with Brooke Castillo. And just listening to her first episode was just mind-blowing for me. Like, nobody had put these simple concepts in a way that she did for me to understand so easily. So she has what she teaches at what she calls the model. Now, before we get into it, let me clarify that real depression exists, PTSD exists. There are real psychological, psychiatric disorders. And if you feel like you are in any of those categories, then you need to get professional help. You should go find a therapist or psychiatrist. And you may even need medication. And there's absolutely no shame in getting mental health. Please try to get yourself help if that's where you are. But this is more about our day-to-day worries. We like to use those big terms and just say, we're depressed, and when we're just not feeling better, or when some things are going on in our lives, but it doesn't actually meet the medical diagnosis of depression. So if you are in that category where you believe that you need medical help or you need serious help, if you have any sort of suicidal thoughts or any sort of thoughts where you feel like hurting yourself or hurting anybody else, then please seek help. This is not the right path for that. But for day-to-day worries, the things that we think about daily, this has helped me tremendously. And then also, when I started listening to other life coaches and other forward thinkers of these days, Bob Proctor, there's so many other people, Tony Robinson, they all basically teach the same thing. Basic concepts are the same, but what Brooke Castillo did was just use this model to make it kind of a habit that you could use on a daily basis to practice where you are. So her model is called CTFAR. So basically she explains that you have C in your life. C stands for circumstances. Circumstances is everything outside of us. So our relationship with other people, the other people in our life, not actually the relationship with other people, but other people in our lives, they are circumstance, what they do not do, that we cannot control. What happens in the world, we cannot control. bad things will happen. Wars will happen. People will get hurt. Accidents will happen. People will drive while they are drunk. People will die. People will get raped. Those things will happen, and we have absolutely no control over them. Now, what we do have control over are the next 4 things. So the next thing is thoughts. Thoughts is everything in our head, everything that we think about, the circumstances that are happening outside of us. Those are our thoughts. And we have over 60,000 thoughts in a day. Then those thoughts that we have create certain feelings in us. So it's not what's happening outside that's creating the feeling. It's what we are thinking about it that's going to create a feeling in us. And everybody can have different feelings to the same circumstance. So it's what we individually think about a circumstance creates our feelings. And then because we feel certain way, or because we want to feel certain way, we take certain action. Action is anything that we will do. So going and exercising at the gym or eating healthy, those are the actions that we are taking. And then those actions get us certain results in our lives. So CTFAR. C is for circumstances. We cannot control everything outside of us. Thoughts, all the things that we are thinking about in our head, those thoughts create a certain feeling in us, and those feelings make us take certain actions in our lives, and those actions is what gives us results in our life. I may repeat myself a couple of times because it's just very, very crucial to understand the model to go further on, but this is the basic model. So let's take an example. Let's say you get on the scale and you weigh 200 pounds. Now, you individually may think that is too much. This is your thought, that you are fat and you will never get better. So these will be your thoughts. Now somebody else could get on the same scale, weigh the same 200 pounds, and they may be happy there, this is good. Or they may feel they are muscular and they are good where they are. Because of what you think of the 200 pounds on the scale, you are thinking that's too much, that I am too fat, is going to create a certain feeling in you. And that feeling will be negative if you are having a negative thought about that weight. The feeling will be you feel not motivated. And the action you may end up taking, what most of us do, is buffering. What she calls buffering is we try to avoid it, we try to distract ourselves from it, and what you may end up doing is going and eating something or going and watching Netflix to distract yourself from what's causing that thought or that feeling. And the result will be you will create the same future as your past. Next week when you get on the scale, you'll weigh the same. You won't have made any major changes or differences, and you will continue to feel that way. Now, if somebody's getting on the same scale and having a different thought about it, that something like this is something that I can fix, or this is something that I can go to gym and lose the weight that I want to, then the action they may take is go to gym, and the result they may create is something different, which is they may lose weight and they will create a different future for themselves. Now, you need to ask yourself what your goal is in life. What feeling do you want to have? A lot of people think that they would just like to feel happy all the time. However, that is not really our goal, because things will happen and we will get certain thoughts about it and our feelings will change based on that. And being human is feeling all the emotions that there are. So for example, if somebody dies, their dying is a circumstance that directly does not make you feel a certain way. If somebody dies and you don't know that they have passed away, then you don't get to feel sad. You don't get to feel the emotions that go with that. But once you learn about the death, then you may experience certain thoughts about it, that maybe this person was too young to die, and other thoughts like if you could have done anything to help them, and then it also makes you think about your own mortality, and all those things cause the feeling of sadness, and you want to feel sad. This is something bad that has happened. And another concept that Brooke Castillo teaches is that life is 50-50. So you will not always be happy. You will experience sadness. You will experience feeling low. And that's part of life. That's what makes us human. One of the things that this helped me conquer was my feeling of overwhelm. I had a full-time job. I am a full-time mom, a wife. And the thought that I was constantly having was I have too much to do. And there were circumstances to prove it. Yes, I have a job, I have all these other responsibilities, and those are my circumstances. But the thought that there's too much to do was creating a feeling of overwhelm inside of me. And with that overwhelm, instead of getting the things done and putting them on a priority list and tackling them, I ended up buffering. So I would go on social media or go and watch something or just go and overeat. Overeat was one of the issues I was having. And I would try to bandit these things or these feelings by thinking that these other external factors will help me feel better and will help me feel less overwhelmed. And the result, obviously, I was getting things were not getting done. I was not doing any of the things that I wanted to do on my list. And that was a cycle. I would feel overwhelmed again and thoughts that there's too much to do, and again not taking any action and trying to avoid the things that actually needed to be done and not getting anything done. So initially I just started practicing that I have time to do everything, and that really helped calm my anxiety and calm me down. And I was able to practice that thought and just get a better feeling. And then I created something called minimum baseline. There was minimum stuff that needed to get done every day. So I just needed to make sure that we had food to eat that day, water to drink, my kids, their diapers were getting changed, and they were happy, and my work, the minimum work that needed to be done was getting done. So my reports were getting done, and something like case logs, some things that were mandatory were getting done, and anything extra was on the next list. So if I needed to read extra for my work, or if I needed to do anything, then that could go for the next day. And I just had the minimum stuff that needed to get done for each day, and just jotting it down on my calendar that what's the minimum, and then crossing it off as I got it done. And that just helped me so much with my feeling of overwhelm, and just making me feel better about the overall situation. Now, I've learned a couple of other tricks that have been really useful. One is meditation. The Prophet ﷺ used to go and meditate, and all the successful people that I'm reading about and that I'm learning about, they all preached about meditation. And that was a practice that I picked up, and it's been really, really helpful. Just getting 5 minutes, 10 minutes break to your brain to just relax and not think about anything and just concentrate on nothing, basically, or just be present. That has helped me so much. And the other trick I learned from another life coach, Alia Jamal, is feeling present. So a lot of times we have all these thoughts running in our brain. As I said, over 60,000 thoughts in a day. And we are either living in our past through the things that we've experienced, and we keep reliving our past and feeling the pain, even though the past is long gone and the things that were going to happen are done. And we just keep reliving it in our head and experiencing the pain over and over again. Or we are living in our imaginative future, things that have not happened yet. We worry about everything. What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? And how will you get there? So we are either living in our past or either living in our future. So the first thing that we need to do is just become aware of what we are thinking. Just start paying attention to your thoughts. What are you thinking about every day? And one practice that helped with that is daily thought download. That's also from Brooke Castillo. You basically write down everything that's happening in your brain, everything that you are thinking about, things that are coming in or going out in your brain, just write them down. It doesn't have to be a perfect sentence. It doesn't have to be a perfect grammar. It doesn't have to be in any order. Just whatever is coming in, just put it on a paper. And that just clears your brain so much. So to practice presence, to be in the present right now is another technique. And basically, you just tell yourself, you just become aware of your current situation, where you are right now. So I am sitting at a bench right now at this park. It is this time of the day and it is sunny, but it's a nice breeze. You feel the breeze on your face. You feel your feet touching the floor, and you just feel, you use your senses to feel whatever is happening around you. And that has been so helpful, just being in the present and not thinking about the past and not thinking about the possible future things that may or may not happen has been so helpful. So again, I'm reaching almost the 19 minutes for this episode. I want to keep it short, as I've promised, but I realized that I wanted to cover a lot of things, a lot of high yield material in very short episodes, and that probably won't happen. So we will keep talking about some of these things later as well. But for now, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for giving me your time. And I'm really honored, and I look forward to speaking to you again. All right. Until next time. Bye.